AITA for asking women to be quiet at a baseball game. I was at a baseball game enjoying the first several innings until two women arrived late and sat next to me. They proceeded to talk loudly to each other about work and friends and everything. They were so loud, I couldn't hear the announcer. I tried giving them several bewildered looks, but they continued unaware. I traded seats with someone else so I could be further from them, but they were still too loud. Finally, I just leaned over and said to them straight, "You are too loud," and that I moved because of it, and that I still couldn't hear anything because of them. They looked ashamed and stopped talking altogether. At the end of that inning, they left their seats and didn't come back until right before the game ended. AITA for asking some grown-ass women to STFU.
This is so interesting, and I think rings true for like a lot of the questions that get asked is that people get pushed so far. They get all ramped up in their brain.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
And then they explode, and then they do something really mean, and then the people that they had no idea that they were doing something wrong in the first place. But like, you have built this up so much in your head.
Yes.
Where like, if you just said, I have a very similar situation that happened. I was recently at the taping of a radio show that I write for, and it's important to me to hear what jokes work on stage. And there were two really loud women standing next to me and my friend, and he was so annoyed. And I was like, no, don't say anything because I'm too afraid of confrontation. And he just went over there and very politely said like, hey, we're just trying to hear, and could you quiet down? And they quieted down and then wrote us a note apologizing. And it was the sweetest thing I'd ever seen. And they were just lovely and wonderful. And I think if you just ask people politely to be quiet, they will do it.
I think this is a great point and a great insight. I've referred to this before as internalized unassertiveness. I think it's very toxic. People are confused about the difference between being aggressive and being assertive. And look, if you have a good reason for it, which in this case, you definitely did at your radio show. You were working there in a professional capacity. But in this case, this guy's trying to enjoy the game and he's being impeded by them. And that's a good enough reason.
Good enough reason.
I think the question that I'm wondering about is the how of this. I've kind of thought before that taking the indirect route can work. And so I was curious what you would think of this. But like, is it better to go to people and say something more like, hey, did you catch what the announcer just said? I just couldn't hear it, and kind of clue them in?
That's so like backhanded.
It's backhanded.
It's so bitchy.
Is it bitchy though? Does it have to come off as bitchy?
I think it does. If you did that to me and I was talking, I would be like, okay, you could have just asked me to quiet down. Jesus.
Interesting. So being passive in that way, you think doesn't
it's passive aggressive.
It's passive aggressive. Another thing we talk a lot about is overreacting. And I wonder about this because it is an overreaction. You're accusing this guy of overreacting. And I think you're onto something because he has built up his own reaction by his lack of assertiveness.
He's a mess. He's in his insides. He's burning so many calories. His insides are going crazy. I could feel it. I think
this is a more valid case of overreacting because basically through your own inaction, you have cultivated your reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like just growing a plant of hatred inside you. And it's like all you had to do was say one little thing. Yep. Kevin Hendricks writes, YTA, the announcer is just saying what's happening right in front of you. Can't help but feel like if they were dudes yammering about sports, you'd have been clammier about shutting them down. Loud bowl full of people is going to be loud. Quit going to games alone. Got him. Richie Martin says, LOL, I love how this miserable bastard makes a point to say it's two women being too loud at a baseball game. My God, women? They're not even supposed to be at a sports match, and everybody knows hoopla from women is just so shrill and annoying. Jesus Christ on a stick.
Thank you, Richie Martin.
I've previously said, don't tell people what to do. Don't tell them exactly what to do. Let them figure it out. But I think I'm starting to back off on that because you're telling me that this line, excuse me, did you guys hear what the announcer just said, is passive aggressive? You called me a bitch by proxy. You did call me a bitch, Emily.
You're a little bitch. Yeah.
Am I a bitchy boy?
You're a bitchy boy. Excuse me, did you hear what the announcer just said? I couldn't make it out.
Oh, hey, sorry. Guys, I was just wondering, did you guys just hear what the announcer said? Because I just couldn't hear.
Oh, he said, fucking die.
Would that play as bitchy? Am I delusional?
No, that was super bitchy.
That was bitchy?
Yeah.
But I'm all alone at the game. Couldn't I plausibly be asking?
If I was talking, why would I be listening to the announcer?
You're right. It's clear what's going on every level.
I'd be like, so you're mad at me. I'm like, why wouldn't you just say that?
I'm uncomfortable because I think I just realized that I'm a bitch. like I am.
Have you actually done this though?
With strangers in general, it does seem like be direct is a pretty good way.
But kind.
Direct but kind.
And empathetic and giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And he didn't do that when he was like rude. Giving them the benefit of the doubt would have been like, oh, you guys, I'm so sorry, but like you are, I just can't hear and you probably don't even realize that you're being really loud, but I'm so sorry. I don't know. But there's a benefit of the doubt way of doing it.
So AITA for asking women to be quiet at a baseball game. We agree.
You're the asshole. Just the way you did it, buddy.